And I first want to go back to Jerry Pruitt. In 2012, Jerry wrote me a letter wanting to market. But we wanted it down here, right, Jerry?
Right.
But we found out Harts Avenue was going to be closed, and so we came up here, and it's a logical place to have it. Okay. So from there we went to Cody Robinson. Cody said, come on, I think I can help y'all out. So Cody invited us up to his house to a tea, the Sherwood group. We had a real good time there. He comes up with the rendering and follows through on a pretty good study. And he's going to talk to us a little bit later about what the sign is and what the area is all about. Well, the Sherwood group actually put in a whole lot of work on it. Chris Robinson, I think. Where's Chris? Anybody know? Okay, he was supposed to be. Becky Norgren came on the scene. I called her up and I said, hey Becky, here's what we're going to do. And I told her. I said, do you want to be a part of it? And she said, absolutely. Well, it was a godsend because she helped build this thing behind it with the help of Roy. Roy got in there with the, what are you, community development, 1% thing? Okay. And we all got together and got the money up for it, and that worked out real good. Heath Williamson, where's Heath? I forgot to even recognize. He said not to call him to say anything. And Heath is behind it all the way. But I got to say about the Mountain Laurel Club, and I'll put this up because this is the truth. Talked to Betty Jane, and she said, we want to get on board. And I said, well, that's fine. Little did I know at the time that they were going to take it and run with it because she appointed a committee. Are they here, the committee, Betty Jane?
Yes.
Would you name them or raise a hand or whatever?
Just raise your hand.
Yeah.
The committee.
The committee figured out the stone, the cap, the color. They even got down to who was going to build the sign. Mr. T.L. Simmons. I found out one thing that's always been logical to me, that once you wanted a project or anything you're going to do, go get you some women and they'll follow through. The sign right there is an absolute proof that that's the truth. I got to thank everybody. I don't know any other way to say this, but all the way through this thing, somebody picked up and carried the torch a little bit further. And as we went, Heath Williamson was right there, following our six, no problem. He handled the sign maker, he handled getting this curbing put down so nobody run over us, and so on and so forth. But anyway, I'm just happy to be able to thank everybody that a part of this, and you're all a part of it, and you're the ones that did it. Okay? Ms. Hatmaker, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
Ben is he's wonderful when it comes to a project. We need something. He's always there, and we really appreciate that. And he's been there for years for us. And I just would like to name off all the ladies that helped on this committee, and I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget anyone. Jennifer Brunson, Helen Bilbrow, Helen's here, me, Rebecca Stiegel, she's on vacation, Betty Jane Reeves, and John Williamson. And our first meeting that we had was at Jennifer's home, where we chose all the things, that the material, the size of the sign, the colors, the name, the font, and even the design for the stacked stone. And that's what our ladies do. We get together and we work real hard. And I just want to thank them and thank the community for standing behind us and for being part of our Mountain Laurel Garden Club every year. We don't do huge projects, but what we do is meaningful to the community, and that's what we do here. And I just want to thank everyone involved, Mr. Ben, Miss Becky, Mayor, Mr. Roy that I just got to meet this morning. Thank you all for all of your support.
Good, thank you.
And if you're a member of Mountain Laurel Garden Club, please raise your hand.
Okay, Jody.
Well, good morning. I'm Cody Robinson. I just live right around the corner here, not to be confused with Chris Robinson that lives right here. But of course, none of this could have happened without Ben Reed's leadership. And I guess we moved up here in 2008 after having lived downtown in the historic district for a number of years. And I guess I'd lived up here 2 or 3 years and always drove this way to work or wherever we were going. And it was just a big asphalt island with nothing, to signify that this was actually a neighborhood. And so in talking with Chris and some of the neighbors and Ben, we had done the traffic circles downtown. Y'all may be familiar with those that have the urns, and they're really nice this time of the year with the holiday decorations. And it took a while. Some people didn't quite like the traffic calming device that we had put there, but I think the neighborhood got used to it eventually, and it's really become a big plus for the downtown area. And I think this is similar to that in a lot of ways. The sign's beautiful. We had a nanny that kept our children for a number of years that was an artist. And when we started this project, I just asked her if she wouldn't mind sketching out with her colored pencils a design and kind of a prototype to go by, and she did. And I think, unfortunately, she passed away a few years ago at an early age, but I think she would be very proud of how this sign turned out. So my many thanks to the Garden Club for all your hard work. Ben's right, it does take ladies, I think, sometimes to just get the men in gear to do something more than anything else. But Ben had asked me to talk a little bit about the history up here, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing that. We probably need Danny Crownover or Mike Goodson or somebody to give you the real history of it all. But I will just give you a few highlights that I jotted down this morning. Of course, Gadsden was founded in the 1840s, and a few years after that, a land boom happened here in Gadsden, Etowah County. People realized with its location near the river and all the industry that was developing that this was becoming a prime place to locate your business and to live. So a company was formed called the Gadsden Land and Improvement Company. It was formed in 1887, and you guys probably know this history better than me. But R.A. Mitchell, who owned thousands of acres, I believe, at one time, and the acreage where the falls are located that he eventually deeded to the city, he was the president and incorporator of the Gadsden Land and Improvement Company. That company purchased over 3,000 lots on Lookout Mountain at the time, and it became part of the assets of that company. As an inducement to get people to move to the mountain, they constructed a hotel that everybody knows is the Bellevue Hotel that eventually became the Mineral Springs Hotel. And they built that as kind of a draw for people to move up here, and it could become a clubhouse for the residents to use. The hotel was built in 1889 at a cost of $100,000, which that's a lot of money now. I can't imagine in 1889 how much that really was. In 1895, there was an economic panic in the early 1890s that led to the hotel losing a lot of business, and eventually they had to close the doors. In 1895, the hotel was sold to A.B. Jones of Huntsville, who opened the Jones Female College. A lot of people don't realize there was actually a college that used the hotel for a number of years. In 1897, the college closed, and Louis Hart, that Hart's Avenue is named after, purchased the hotel and all of the remaining lots that were in the Gadsden Land and Improvement Company at the time. And he only paid $15,000 for the hotel and the lots. So he got quite a deal from the $100,000 that it cost to build it. Louis Hart's ran the Bellevue Hotel for approximately 9 years with great success. I think it, by all accounts, was one of the most successful resort hotels in the South. In 1910, he reorganized the Bellevue Hotel Company and renamed it the Mineral Springs Hotel. But that only lasted for 2 years because on June 4th of 1912, the hotel burned to the ground, unfortunately, and Gadsden lost probably its greatest architectural gem that it had with the burning of the hotel. In 1913, Louis Hart still owned all of the property and began to mark off residential areas here on the mountain. And in 1913, Bellevue Highlands was platted. The first edition of Bellevue Highlands was along Harts and Bellevue. There were a couple of additions later, I think maybe 2 or 3 additions that eventually got platted into the 20s and 30s. And in 1941, at that time, this was not part of the city of Gadsden. They weren't incorporated, so they were still kind of rural and separate from downtown Gadsden. And in the 1941, Bellevue Highlands and Tuckahoe Heights, another residential neighborhood, voted to annex those neighborhoods into the city. And the city leaders at the time said, if you'll annex yourselves into the city, we'll provide water service to the mountain, which they didn't have at the time. And so the vote was overwhelmingly in favor of annexation. And in 1941, Bellevue Highlands and Tuckahoe became part of the city of Gadsden. And at that time, it added approximately 2,000 residents to the city's population, which increased it to almost 40,000, which I believe, Mayor, you can correct me, I think is more residents than we have now within the city limits. And of course, Gadsden was, the 4th or 5th most populous city at that time in the state of Alabama. So that's just a little brief history. And I want to thank Ben again and everyone who had anything to do with this. We certainly appreciate it. I think it's a great addition to the neighborhood.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, that was good. Becky, would you like to say something?
I don't have a lot to say except for I appreciate you ladies and all the hard work that you put into this, and I appreciate Ben Reed, and I really appreciate one thing. I have a father who lives on Bellevue, Walter Sibbles, and he cannot stand it when anybody calls this Nakalula Mountain.
Absolutely.
He says it is not Nakalula Mountain. It is Lookout Mountain.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate Ben's words when he appropriately referred to it as Lookout Mountain, which it is. And I think it's a wonderful thing, a wonderful job, and I think it encourages everybody up here to do more for this area and maybe have more revitalization and things like that going on. So I appreciate your inspiration and everything that you've done.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Mayor?
Yeah, I'll just say a couple things. I grew up in Alabama City, but I had a lot of friends on the mountain. And I used to come up here with them in the house up here that we own. I just was amazed at that house. And it sat there about 10 years when I bought it. But they all, and some of you from Alabama City, they always said when people got rich, they moved to the mountain. And so since I could never find my money when I got it.
Does anybody else want to say anything? We're open to the floor. Okay. I left out somebody and Jen, Parks and Rec. They've done a great job for us getting this down. And I want to tell you at this time, it will be soft. All of this will be in Bermuda, and we will eventually have a solar light on both sides, so Barbara don't run into it trying to come home. Okay, has anybody else got anything else? Except honest to goodness, y'all. I appreciate every one of you and what y'all did, and you see the result. All right, come this way, and I'm just going to say one sentence about dedicating this because I ain't got a clue what you say or what you do. So let's just say that we're going to dedicate this marker to the past residents of Lookout Mountain, Bellevue Highlands, to the present residents, and to all the future residents. Okay? Very good. Okay. Thank y'all for coming. Thank you.